Acho, who's to blame for the Lakers' mess?
It's easy, big dog. It's not LeBron. It's not Russ. It's Father Time. Father Time. The Lakers got absolutely embarrassed yesterday in overtime because of Father Time. Y'all consider this for one moment. Lakers, Rockets, 120. We in OT, baby. The Lakers' first 5 possessions. LeBron James, 37 years old, misses a layup. Russell Westbrook, 33 years old, turnover. Russell Westbrook, 33 years old, gets a shot blocked. Carmelo Anthony, 37 years old, misses a 26-footer. Carmelo Anthony, 37 years old, misses a 26-footer. Rockets up 130-120. Those were the first 5 possessions of the Lakers' overtime yesterday. Bron missed layup. Westbrook turnover. Westbrook gets shot blocked. Melo misses jumper. And before you know it, the Lakers are down 130-120 en route to being routed in overtime. So what's really and who's really to blame for the Lakers right now is Father Time. One of the most astonishing stats I saw, and hopefully you see all day regarding the Lakers and that performance yesterday, when you look at the youth of the Rockets and you look at the age of the Lakers, look in overtime. The average age of a Laker who took a shot, 33 years. The average age of a Rocket who took a shot, rounded up, 27 years. Rockets went 7 for 8. The average age of those older Lakers went 4 for 9. Y'all, Lakers was tired. The Lakers were gassed. The Lakers were out of it. So who's to blame really for this whole Lakers debacle? It's Father Time. We knew that this was an old, aging roster. They began the season old, and they're now aging before our very eyes. Now, with age comes wisdom, but with age comes fatigue. And the problem is the wisdom is not trumping the fatigue, particularly in overtime. So who do you blame? Yeah, I could look at a name, but I'd rather look at the entity.
Oh.
Father Time.
Oh, man, I love that. I think it's something deeper than that, and I think it's something simpler than that. Let's go simple first. The absence of AD. It's just that simple. It's that simple, y'all. Let's talk about it at a deeper level. In the construction of this Lakers team, let's just look at the blueprint and see how it's missing a key material. It's missing the wood. The smooth wood that is a building block for all things we're going to construct was Anthony Davis. It wasn't LeBron James. No, LeBron James is the hammer. All that force going to the rim, doing what he wants to do on the basketball court. He's the hammer. And you know who was supposed to be the nail? Russell Westbrook. Spiky. Rough on those edges, but hey, gets the job done. Now, if you look at this house that they're trying to construct, it's kind of hard to build without any wood, right? AD has played 28 games of the Lakers' 65 this season. He is absent. So when you look at this team, it's as simple as that. Without Anthony Davis, look what's happening. When Anthony Davis was healthy for the Lakers, what did they end up doing that year? Winning the championship. Now, with his absence, you're starting to see people scramble. You're seeing LeBron James out of sorts. You're seeing LeBron James do too much. Play 45 minutes in a game in March against the worst team in the Western Conference and still lose. Worse than that, why were you in a game that was still in contention for you to go to overtime against the worst team in the Western Conference? It's really simple and it's really deep. Look at this Lakers team. They're not going according to design. And you just bought a house. You didn't build a house, but you're talking about building a house, and you don't even live in the house you just bought. I love you. You got money, real money. But here's the thing. When you get those blueprints and you stretch them out over that kitchen table, you start to look at things. All of that you see and touch matters. Without the wood, without Anthony Davis, you can't build what you want.
You're right on that, but I think the other person to blame for these Lakers struggles, unfortunately, is LeBron James. Now, the beauty is that LeBron James we're not blaming because he gives us masterful and masterclass performances. 56 points LeBron James gave us on 31 shots this weekend. And that's all we talked about. Highlights. But here's my problem, Marcellus, Wiley. Since LeBron James' 56-point performance on those 31 shots, the Lakers have played 2 games. They've lost both of those games to worser opponents. They lost one of those games to the Spurs, and they lost another one of those games to the Rockets. Since that 56-point game on 31 shots, LeBron James' Lakers have played 2 games, of which they have both lost, and LeBron James has had a collective 23 points on 26 shots. You robbed Peter to pay Paul, and they both ended up broke. Somebody got to make that make sense. So I blame LeBron a little bit because his efforts were miscalculated. LeBron James' entire career, he has worked smarter, not harder. And oftentimes he works both. But what we've seen from LeBron James as of late, because he has to press, is he's working harder, not smarter. Bron, you're not competing with the Warriors for a play-in spot. You're competing with the Spurs for a play-in spot. Yeah. So if you are going to give me a 56-point performance, be cognizant. We got a game in 2 days in San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. Be cognizant. We got another game we need you for. So don't go all to the wall and end up falling. So, you know, when we were in college workouts in the summer.
Don't do it.
What I used to hate were
the college workouts. Oh,
yes,
okay, that's
hated
it.
those the entirety.
Yeah.
But I hated sandbaggers. And you know what a sandbagger was? You remember? I'll explain it. Y'all probably used a different verbiage.
Oh.
The sandbagger was a person, y'all got 10 reps.
Yeah.
And they cruise for the first 8, and then they sprint the last 2. And coach cusses you out because you let somebody beat you on those last 2 reps. Until you understand there's a little bit of wisdom to being a sandbagger. See, the sandbagger understands if I go all out on rep 1, I'm not going to make it for rep 10. So I got to calculate rep 1 in mind of rep 10. Yeah. LeBron James went all out this past weekend, not realizing you got 2 games that are more important than this game you just dropped 56 points in. So LeBron James ultimately let 1 win cost him 2 games. And I got to in part blame LeBron James because while he wowed the crowd, and thank you LeBron James for it, because at the end of the day, if I was in Crypto Arena, put up 56 points against Steph Curry, do that, entertain me, I, mine. But if you're LeBron James, you got to be calculated. You got to treat the rest of the regular season like a 7-game playoff series. You got to make sure you can pick your spots. It's not just about winning game 1. You might have to win a closeout game 7.
Yeah, save some of that money for the tax man because the tax man is coming.
Yes, sir.
And he wants his money. LeBron James pulled a Tupac out there. All eyes on me when I'm playing Golden State, so let me ball out. I had this experience one time. I'm not going to say the artist or the group's name just to keep it general because I love them too much. But I got a chance to go on stage with them. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Because playing football, it's great to see 80,000 people that you can – off of any play, command them to cheer. If I get a sack, oh, they about to scream for me, right? But it's different when you go into a venue, into a stadium arena, and they're all there for you. Not us, you. And I got to see this for an artist. And I was like, wow, so you're behind the black curtain, you know, and they got the DJ booth, and he's like, stand right here. I'm like, all right, let's go. And they performed, and they rocked it. But I heard someone, and I don't know if it was the artist himself, but someone in that crowd, in that ruckus say, okay, we killed that, but that was Diego. I was in San Diego. And I was like, oh, and I kept listening. They was like, yeah, we really rocked L.A. And then where's our next show? So they started to measure how much they would give based on performances and based on location. LeBron James is having an insane year. Let's get that out the way. One of his best seasons in a couple years. Yet, the Lakers are 22-25 when he plays. They're under 500 when LeBron James is playing. Want to know why this falls on LeBron James, to your point? It's because he's the architect and the contractor. He's the one that designed this, and then he's the one that's supposed to go out there and help it become executed. It's not working according to plan. It's not working according to design. Lakers have lost 8 of their last 10 starts with LeBron James in the lineup. I don't know if it's really father time. I just think that LeBron James truly knew when he designed this what he needed in materials. And like everything else in this world right now, everything's backordered. Everything's stuck at the dock. Can't go to Home Depot and get anything right now. AD, the wood, is not shipping on time. So until they get Anthony Davis, it's really something we're going to overthink. But in simplicity, if Anthony Davis shows up tomorrow, their fortune's going to change tomorrow.
Here's my problem, though, Sel, with everybody that wants to blame AD, because I, too, want to blame AD. But you can't blame the sun for making it hot. You know? Yeah. You can't blame snow for making it cold. It's just what it does. You can't blame AD for being hurt. It's just who he is.
Oh,
so
man.
Now, in light of who he is, you have to navigate and orchestrate your life accordingly. In light of the sun, you might want to bring some sunscreen, not just be like, well, sun, why are you still heating things up? That's just what it does. Okay. AD, why are you still hurt? That's just who he is. Yeah. So now I don't know if I can blame AD, Sel. You talked about it. I'm moving into a house here shortly by the grace of God, and I know this much. My designer shout out to Brittany, will be like, hey, this item is back ordered. So you have a decision to make. Do you want to wait for the item to come in June, or do you want to order something right now knowing that your item doesn't come until June? Kitchen table, for example. Hey, big dog, the kitchen table you want's not coming in until June. So let's get a temp one right now, or do you want to get a really nice one right now? Well, I got people coming over. Get me a nice one right now. When the temp one comes in, when the real one comes in June, I'll replace it, get the real one, put it in. But Sel, I can't dismiss the fact that I knew something was back ordered and then complain about the fact that it was back ordered and I don't have a kitchen table. I knew that was going to happen. Let's look at Anthony Davis with the Lakers.
Don't do it.
Because the bubble year, he played 87% of the games. But outside of the bubble year, we knew he's hurt. He played 41% of the games. Yet we still came into the season knowing AD would be back ordered and expected him to be present. And now he's played 32% of the games. I don't fault AD because I can't fault AD for being AD. AD is injury prone. Are we going to continue to fault Zion for being who Zion is? Zion is overweight and injury prone. I can't fault AD. At this point in time, we got to figure out what we going to do. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. AD, it was shame on him the first time. At this point, it's shame on the Lakers.
All that was great. All that was eloquent. Doesn't really apply to Anthony Davis. Let's look at, see, you can't show me when LeBron's the architect and the contractor what he's done as a Laker, Anthony Davis, in terms of games played. You got to show me before he became a Laker, because that's the evidence. That's what you're reading in terms of making this decision, correct? 56 games started the year before when he was in New Orleans. Okay, that's starting to, that's not a lot. But then 75. So LeBron might have thought the 56 was an anomaly. Like, oh, AD is healthy, despite reputation. I'm just saying there was a case to be made that Anthony Davis could be there for more times than not. 75 out of 82 consecutive years sounds like a healthy player to me. Here's my thing. Oh, first of all, let me get this out the way. Whoever the CEO of Restoration Hardware is, please DM. I know what you're doing. My whole house. First of all, my whole house did it too. And it's a game everybody runs. Like, I'm going to order this now. You know you can return it to the restaurant. You ain't slick. I'm coming over. I got that. I got that. All right. Let's get to the point once again. I think you're really trying to say, AD, you can't blame him, but at the same time, I blame you because you're always injured. You're saying, LeBron, look, you're old, but I can't blame you, but I got to blame you because you're old. All businesses fail for one common reason. They run out of money. Now, there's different ways to run out of money. We don't have it. Zero. Insufficient funds. Or we do have a little, but why throw good money after a bad product? If you look at this situation, it's really that simple. They don't have it. Now, can they get it is the question. You ever been in a situation where you're like, God, I got this great idea. All I need is a little bit of an investment, a little bit of a bump, someone just to supplement, someone to believe in me, and this can happen. Anthony Davis show up, guess where the belief goes? Through the roof. Anthony Davis shows up, guess where the team goes in terms of its fortunes and productions? Sky high. It's just that simple. They need someone to come in with the capital raise and say, here you go. But it's not about the money that they got to look elsewhere for. They just need to make sure that this comes back to them. Anthony Davis, healthy.
But here's my only thought process and my only problem at hand is we keep calling for Anthony Davis, but we know who he is. Like, Sel, okay, if it's not sunny today, I'm going to be all right. Ooh, if it don't snow today, like, imagine being in Seattle and being like, well, as long as it don't rain, I'm going to have a great day.
75 to 75. You can't do that to him.
The problem is 56 before he showed up to L.A. And the only thing was that bubble-shortened season is what allowed AD to stay healthy. So in the seasons outside the bubble, AD's last 3 seasons outside.
Did they shut him down in that 56? Remember all the issues?
There was a lot of drama, but I think he shut himself down. I think he Ben Simmons, James Harden-esque himself.
Okay.
But if you're looking at 56 games played, 40 games played, and what is he at now? 19 or so games played, 21 games played. It's just not a good look. I just don't blame AD because he showed us who he was. Lakers, you have to now navigate accordingly, Sel.
36 games last year. 37 games this year. It's not over yet. Man, look, you go out with intention. Any team, we talk about culture, we talk about talent, we talk about buy-in. We got to have the horses. And they don't have the horses to run this race. That's why they're out there trying to bottom feed right now and can't even achieve that. They're going against the worst team in the Western Conference and still coming up short. Do you think that would occur with Anthony Davis on
Not at all.
Not
at all.
There we go. First domino just fell.